Okay, so we are going to do part one of the low poly vector animal project. You will need to submit this part for a progress check grade. So to start off the project, I'm going to click on create new. I'm just in Photoshop. I'm using the virtual machine and I'm setting my width to 8.5 and my height to 11. So 8.5 by 11 vertical. This is just a standard printer paper size. And then I'm going to click on create. Okay, now I'm going to add my animal image by going to File, Place Embedded. And I am just in my drive now. So under Google Drive, in my digital art class folder, I saved a fox image. So I'm going to double click on that and it's going to open up my fox over here. I'm just going to resize it so it takes up a good portion of my canvas. So figuring out how much of it I want to use, probably about there. And then I'm going to click on my check mark. Again, I'm only using half of it. So now I'm going to come over to my layers panel. If you don't see your layers panel, it's probably down here. So just click on layers and it'll open it up. And I'm in my fox layer here. What you want to do is right click and you want to rasterize your image, which is going to convert it to pixels and make it so you can directly edit it in Photoshop. So if you've rasterized it, the little icon there will go away. So I'm going to click on Control 0 just to bring my canvas full screen so I can see what I'm doing. And I'm going to come over here to my regular lasso tool. So this is just the same lasso tool that we used for our surrealist collage project. And I'm going to go around the outside of my fox. This doesn't have to be totally perfect because we are going to go in with our polygonal lasso tool and make some shapes around the outside, but you want to still keep pretty close to your animal image. And then I'm going to come out just a little bit and just kind of wrap it around because again, we're only using half of it. So the second side can be kind of messy. Connect my 2 points until I have those dotting lines. Then I'm going to go to select, inverse, and that selects everything outside of that area that I just lassoed. Now I'm clicking backspace to delete it. I'm deselecting, so select, deselect, or Control D to get rid of those dotted lines. And now I want to bisect this with a pretty straight line right down the middle. So in order to do that, I'm coming over here to our rectangular marquee tool. It's right above our lasso tool. I'm clicking on it and I am drawing a rectangle around the side that I want to get rid of. So that's going to make sure that that line down the center is completely straight. Oop. Make sure I drop my point. You can click over here and move it around once you're done drawing it. But I really want to make sure it's lined up nicely. So I am using the nose as a reference. And right there is about, there we go, centered. So then I'm just going to drop it. We see where my dotted lines are. And if I click backspace, it gets rid of that half. So now I have just the half that I'm going to be working on for the geometric shapes. And then when I'm done with this side, it will be replicated and mirrored. And then when I push it all together, it's going to look like a normal image of a fox, just in the low poly style. So let me come up here to select and deselect to get rid of those dotted lines. And this is what you're submitting for your very first progress check on this project. So I'm going to come up here to File, Save As. I'm going to save it to my computer. You guys should save it to your cloud, but it's different for the teacher screen, I think. I'm going to still save it to my drive. So my drive. And I am going to save it as something. So Fox. And I want to save it and submit it as a JPEG. So save as type, I changed it to JPEG, and then I would click save, and that is what I am going to submit for a grade. Okay, and I forgot to mention this, but you also want to save the Photoshop version of this. So not just the JPEG to submit, but you also want to make sure that you're saving the file format Photoshop or .psd. That way you can reopen this up and continue to work in it with your separate fox or whatever your animal is layer. So I'm making sure that it says Photoshop, naming my file again, and clicking save and OK.